back. Okay, so I'm going to, is it dry? No, it's not dry. So I'll fast forward this section. Alright, now that that's done, I've picked out some colors, and so I'm going to play with them a little bit here and add some different, just a little bit of paint on here. And with the same card I was using earlier, it's kind of gunked up, but it works. I'm just going to spread some color around the card. Kind of experimenting as I go along. And because I'm working warm with warm at the moment, I don't really have to worry about drawing in between layers. But if you don't want to mix your colors together, or... Be right back, my phone's going on. Of course, when I'm recording, that's when everybody decides to call me. Anyways, sorry about that. So, as I was saying, if you're working with warm colors, warm with warm, you don't really have to worry so much about the mixing together. Okay, my phone's going off again. Gee, be right back. Just to remind me that I've got a dentist appointment. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully that'll be it for now. You know, I could go days without speaking to someone, or you know, getting a phone call from me. And then, of course, as I'm recording, of course, it would be that way. So anyways, as I was saying, if you mix warm colors with warm colors, you're not going to get mud. But if you mix cool with warm, you may get mud. So you may want to make sure that you dry between your layers, so that you don't get that. Now, water-soluble paints or markers, yes, you may get mud if you reactivate it. If you don't put a fixative down first, yes, you could reactivate the water-soluble markers or watercolors or yeah, things like that. So you don't want to do that if you don't want to do that, I mean. Okay, so next, I think I'm going to use a little bit of more. Is this, did I already use this one? No, this is yellow, so I'm going to use a little bit of yellow. And this time, I'm going to do something different. I have these old chopsticks that I have left over from sushi, Japanese sushi. So I'm going to make some marks like this with it. Just make different marks on the paper with it. Looks pretty cool. Playing around, experimenting. Okay. Could even probably do dots if you put some paint down. I'm going to use a very light green. I'm just going to dip it, see what I come up with. And I'm just going over the wet paint too of my marks. I mean, you don't have to do that. You could wait in between layers to to let it dry. But I'm just going to go for it. To let the yellow dry before you put in the green, but I went ahead and went over my marks a little bit. Making sure I'm in camera, because sometimes I don't pay attention and I have yet to get myself a decent piece of equipment. So there you go. There you have it for that. And I'm going to fast forward through this. so this is what we have so far. I'm going to show a close-up. Okay, so see what we have so far, okay? Now, alright, sorry about that, guys. I want to make sure it was pretty dry before I do my next step. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more green down, but I think this time I'm going to take, oh, I thought I had a toothbrush. I guess I must have used it the other day and didn't rinse it out. I do that a lot. Oh, no, here we go. Use an old toothbrush, okay? I'm going to take some of this. I'm going to dip the toothbrush in my paint. See? Okay, I'm going to dip it in my paint, and I might add a little bit of water to the paint to make it a little bit runny, because what I'm going to do next, it needs to come off of the toothbrush pretty easily. Okay, now, warning. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to splatter some paint on this. So if you don't want your desk or your work area to get all splattered with paint, you're going to have to put the brush away from you, and make sure you cover a few things up before you do this. And I'm just I'm using my thumb to kind of run my thumb along the toothbrush. Okay, and you can do this with a lot of different paints. You could even do it with watercolors to give your watercolor a neat effect. Also, with watercolors, these are acrylics that I'm using, but with watercolors, you could add salt to your watercolors, and that kind of gives that a cool effect too. Okay, so